The Final Four for the NBA is set, and it's a somewhat surprising Final Four in my opinion, because during the season, we had the Cavs and Celtics penciled in for the Eastern Conference Finals, and in the preseason, we both thought the Timberwolves kind of ruined their chances when they traded Randall for Karl Anthony Towns, but we were obviously proven wrong. The only thing we had right was the OKC Thunder.
Is this another win-win trade that we overlooked? Because like in the past, we've seen win-win trades, and not in just basketball, in sports, that were like, okay, you could easily tell us win-win off the bat. This one, we were heavy against the Timberwolves of the move they made. And in hindsight, being 2020, Julius Randle and Genzo have proved us wrong, that both teams are in the conference final. Start off with the Thunder here. Thunder, this should not have went 7. I'm still, like, obviously, I'm over it now because they won the series. Because, listen, my rooting interest is for the Thunder for a couple of reasons. Shea, and obviously, we made a video making a prediction that, like, hey, these guys are going to be champions and have potential to be a dynasty coming up soon. This is step 1 towards that. Reason why I was annoyed was that Game 1 loss. And kind of Game 3. But that Game 1 loss, how they lost that game when the constant foul, 3-point foul, whatever, that's a whole different debate. I'm not going to get into it. This should have been done in like 5 or 6.
But here's the thing. We're also looking at it like, I know this Thunder team was the best team in the last decade, essentially, when you're looking at regular season record-wise. But we got to remember, like, they're still inexperienced at the end of the day. Like,
which is fair.
Like, the reason why this went 7 is because their inexperience showed. The things that happened in Game 1 were just dumb not being there. Obviously, like, the method of fouling or with having the 3-point lead is good method. The issue was they did it with, like, instant inbound.
Like, they were
foul.
down.
Yeah.
Like, they were down.
No, not that. Is because, like, well, yeah, kind of like that. They
because
they
were trying to save clock.
They're trying to save clock. The thing is, like, you gotta, like, just let him dribble to half, then foul there to waste some time.
Yeah, and then
so like that when you're looking at the takeaway I have from the Nuggets series is like, is their downfall is their inexperience, right? Being situationally aware was their biggest issue for me. And obviously in Game 7 they kind of answered that. They forced turnovers. They played good ball. And the other question I had was, can their main big 3 options show up in one game, which hasn't really happened up until Game 7, where Shea did his thing, dropped 30 plus. J-Dub with a great bounce back game because he was awful in Game 6. And obviously Chet and Hartenstein did their thing with their big man offense and big man defense as well. So like that's the Thunder team we're looking at. And here's the thing, if that's the Thunder team that shows up, they are clearly the favorite to win it all with these 4 teams remaining. And if that Thunder team shows up, they should be able to beat the Minnesota Timberwolves. The only issue is they have those inexperience where they make those mistakes like they did in Game 1. And on the other side, the Timberwolves have been here. They've been in this is back-to-back conference final appearances for the Minnesota Timberwolves, so they know what to do now because they learned from last year as well.
The Thunder team did not really face any adversity throughout the year, in my opinion. They handled it, like Game 2 was like pretty much what the Thunder season was. Like, just dominate early and then coast the rest of the game. Outside of that one Timberwolves loss where they blew that lead, that was kind of like what Game 1 was and kind of Game 3 was. They didn't really face adversity until this series. And unlike, we will talk about, obviously, on the Pacers side of things, the Cavs had adversity. They didn't handle it well. Yes, injuries were a factor there. These guys at least handled it well. They were down. Then again, to counteract my point here, they were down in Game 5 and they were down in Game 4, I want to say. Both games, they were down.
They were down in Game 7 too.
Yeah. Game 7 early, but the other ones were late as well. Game 7, they just couldn't hit a 3. That game would have been over in the first quarter.
Yeah, would have been,
or midway of the second quarter. Obviously, I don't understand why Adelman took out both Murray and Jokic, and that's what caused that 13-0 run swing where, that's where J-Dub got his confidence rolling. But these guys face the adversity now, right? They went up against the MVP, probable MVP front runner. Some people, like your eyes, the winner as well. But they went up against these guys. Yes, they got lucky that Aaron Gordon did get hurt, and he was obviously not the same Aaron Gordon. But the defense they played overall on the whole team, the turnovers they caused, they learned adversity, which is now going to carry over into this series. Because these guys, like Shea, listen, outside of Game 7, I haven't seen that signature Shea performance fully, like how if we saw Anthony Edwards have that 45-point game against the Lakers or whatever he did even in the Warriors series, even then, right? These guys, yeah, you're right. Like for me, the reason why they have that experience now, whereas the T-Wolves coasted against the Warriors in a way. Not saying coasted because Curry got hurt. That's the only reason why.
When you're looking at lack of adversity, you're looking at the Minnesota Timberwolves because they genuinely, like you said, they destroyed the Lakers. That's more so on the Lakers just being a shit basketball team.
Listen,
in the round one.
They had adversity in a sense that no one picked them.
That's not adversity. That's just being overlooked. That's not adversity. It's not adversity. Yeah. Adversity is like when things are not going for you. Can you goddamn show up?
But they still need to prove people wrong.
That doesn't matter, bro. Like adversity is, can you show up when something's not going for you? Everything went right for the Timberwolves so far. They played the perfect series against the LA Lakers. Curry went down again in the Warrior series, and obviously they took advantage of that. So right now, the reason why there's so much more confidence for me in the Timberwolves this conference finals than it was last conference finals, because last year they had to grit and grind their way through it. And I feel like you could genuinely tell that the Timberwolves were exhausted against the series against the Dallas Mavericks last year. This year is going to be a different story because they're fresh, right? They're rested coming into it, while the other team had to play a game 7 and only have a day rest before the game 1 starts today. So when you're looking at it, the T-Wolves had advantage in terms of rest over the OKC Thunder. They had advantage over experience over the OKC Thunder because they've been in this position before. The only difference here is that the Thunder at the end of the day are still the more dominant team, right? And at the end, the Minnesota Timberwolves are going to need to ask some serious questions, because at the end of the day, I'm not saying just for the Timberwolves, both teams facing each other, both teams are facing the best defensive opponent they have, in this playoffs, essentially, right? The T-Wolves are sick defensively, and obviously the Thunder are the best defensive team in the NBA. So for that reason, Anthony Edwards is going to do his thing. That's where Julius Randle's, is going to probably have some trouble, because I'm assuming OKC will run the double big, and Hartenstein and Holmgren. I know.
The way Caruso was the MVP of that series. They might start Caruso in this series because Gobert is not Jokic.
But you saw Randle.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah, but you have the size still to put people on Randle and maybe either start Hartenstein or Chet.
But the thing is, they have options, right? Yeah. I would probably advise Caruso coming off the bench just because they need some bench scoring and obviously bench help, which is one of the reasons why they were able to overcome the Nuggets series. And the other side, Timberwolves bench is really good too. Yeah. Their bench will make an impact. So that's why I'd rather have Caruso off the bench. I would probably start off with a double big lineup just because if you could just get rid of Randle's, production, it's going to be Anthony Edwards all by himself. Jaden McDaniels is on and off offensively. If his shot's falling, it's falling. If it's not, it's not. But he's there for more of a defensive impact. So when you're looking at it, I would probably roll the double big lineup, get Randle uncomfortable, and make him stay on the perimeter the whole time. And we'll see what. Obviously, you have to Lou Dort to somewhat be able to slow down Edwards, and obviously Shea as well will help in the double team.
Anthony Edwards' injury status is going to be concerning because that injury he faced looked serious as hell, right? So yes, he has the rest now, but those type of injuries might just come back immediately after one step or whatever the case might be, right? Because it is a leg injury at the end of the day. But overall, for me, the T-Wolves, like I said, Julius Randle is the one you look at. You could either start Chet on him, you could either go J-Dub on him, whatever. That's the thing. They just need to have more production with Anthony Edwards. You said it right. Anthony Edwards is going to get his, in my opinion. Even if Lou Dort's on him. We all know Lou Dort's going to be on him, right? If not Lou Dort, he goes on the bench. It might be a guy like Cason Wallace or a J-Dub, or whoever the case is going to be, right? At the end of the day, for the Timberwolves, is they do have the defense to slow down Shea, but it is Shea. Also, the cousin matchup. That's gonna be a fun little matchup between the two as well. He's like, because of their relationship as well. And on the flip side for the Thunder as well, just make it hard for Anthony Edwards, because then the pressure is going to be on Julius Randle. The pressure is going to be on Jaden McDaniels. The pressure is going to be on Naz Reid coming off the bench and all that stuff as well. Because here's the thing, the Timberwolves had a really good 3-point shooting against the Lakers outside of the last game, for the most part, from what I remember. They didn't have their shot has been up and down. So for them, if the 3-point shot is not falling, they might be in trouble with the way it's going, right? And Rudy Gobert isn't going to be going against smaller guys anymore. You're going to have a bruiser and Isaiah Hartenstein on him, and you're going to have a guy like in height with Chet Holmgren against on him as well. He's still going to be there for the rim protection. We all know how elite Rudy Gobert is when it comes to rim protecting. So whenever they drive, it's going to be tough. So for both teams, it's literally just, can you slow down the other best guy, the best player on each team, which we're going to see a hopeful rivalry brew between SGA and Anthony Edwards. And on top of that, can they hit the 3-point shot? It's going to come down to that, because they both have similar styles of play, in my opinion.
They do, yeah.
One team having maybe a bit more of a certain thing.
Before we move on to the Knicks and Pacers series, we would appreciate if you guys smash the subscribe button because we post NBA content like this multiple times a week. Also, if you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button and please leave a comment down below and leave a comment of your predictions down below of who will make the NBA Finals. But let's move on to the Eastern Conference Finals. Both underdogs made it through in the Pacers and Knicks, and both made it through in somewhat dominating fashion as well, eliminating the Celtics and the Cavs respectively.
First question. Did WWE script this?
Yes, they're the masterminds behind all this with the Halliburton and Brunson.
For some context, those of you guys don't know, Jalen Brunson and Tyrese Halliburton had a little stint in the WWE with Logan Paul, I think LA Knight, a couple of months ago in the offseason, I want to say. And fast forward now, those are all the memes that WWE has perfectly. But
no, Triple H is cooking, I guess, in terms of NBA matchups as well. But when you're looking at it, in the second round previews, we did say if the Knicks and Pacers play their best round of ball, they will win the series, and they did play their best round of ball as well. So when you're looking at it defensively, both teams did show up and held the other opposing team. Knicks and the Pacers is in some sort of different ways. Obviously, the Knicks have their OGs and the Mikal Bridges and Josh Hart. The Pacers did it in a different way where they're like, let Donovan Mitchell get his, but we're not going to let anyone else get anything.
Yeah.
Because there were multiple 40+ point performances for Donovan Mitchell and they still lost the Cavs. That's because no one else showed up, and that's because the Pacers did a good job on everyone else, and they just did let Donovan Mitchell, do what Donovan Mitchell does.
Unfortunate for both teams that to a certain degree they're going to be like, oh, the injuries happen. But the thing is, if you look at it deep down, for the starting off with the Pacers, starting off with the Knicks, the Celtics outside of Porzingis was relatively healthy to start the series, right? The Celtics should have won the series. Period. Point blank. Period.
Oh yeah. Period. 100%. The Celtics should have won the series in 5.
In our mid-season or mid-series thing that we dropped, they were up big on the first 2 games. They dropped those games, right? Then they won a game. When Jason Tatum had his best performance of the playoffs, one of his best of his career, which is the way Jason Tatum we saw, he went down and tore his Achilles. But the thing was, first of all, get well soon, Jason Tatum as well. He's probably done for the whole year, most likely as well. But going back to it, you cannot say because Jason Tatum went down, they lost that game.
No, 100%. No,
they already blew the game,
chance. Yeah.
Regardless, right?
No, there's no chance, bro. There's no excuse. The Boston Celtics should have won this series in 5. Games 1 and 2 is no excuse.
And
then game 4,
they kind of blew.
They kind of blew, and Tatum was performing well. No one else stepped up, really aside of him. They won game 5, credit to them. That was like a more of an emotional win.
Yeah.
But overall, the inevitable happened in game 6. But when you're looking at it, in terms of the more dominating performance and a team that more lucked out, and the more dominating performance was the Pacers, in my opinion, even though the Cavs still faced injuries with obviously Garland
Game
and
2
Mobley.
was the one where they missed.
But overall, the Pacers still, got the job done. It felt like the Pacers, were the more dominating. In this one, it felt like the Celtics were in control of the series. But at the end of the day, you still got to give credit to the Knicks because we did say as long as they hang in there, they will take over in the 4th, and that's what they did in games 1 and 2, and obviously in game 4 as well. Yeah. So, at the end, you can't take away anything from the New York Knicks. But to be fair, if you're looking at it with a team that felt like they were more dominant and more deserved to be here compared to the both of them, because both teams, face injury, both the Cavs and Celtics face injuries, I would say it's the Pacers, because at the end of the day, the way they closed out game 5 was in dominating fashion, and they got it done in 5 at the road, whereas the Knicks, got destroyed by the Celtics in game 5. And the Knicks got destroyed by the Celtics in game 3 as well. So the Pacers had more dominating performances. Game 4 performance by the Indiana Pacers was insane. One of the best performances, the Pacers had all year.
Listen, Tyrese Halliburton is shutting people up.
He is,
especially those that called him overrated.
Yeah,
to the point where Cooper Flagg is coming out after his draft lottery saying he's underrated because people think he's overrated for that reason as well.
But now we got to look at the Pacers and Knicks itself. Obviously, these guys faced off against each other last year in the conference semifinals, where the Pacers won in 7, and that is due because the Knicks faced so many injuries in that series. And in game 7, it was literally just Jalen Brunson playing.
He was slightly hurt.
And he was slightly hurt. OG was out. Yeah.
He gave it a go and got out in the first possession.
But now when you're looking at it, both teams are healthy. The Knicks somehow are healthy because they play like 45 minutes a game from like game one all the way up to this point. But they found a way to do it. Obviously, there's still a slight concern with Jalen Brunson and his obviously ankle, which is reoccurring a little bit. But overall, this matchup is going to be tight. It's going to be physical. And both teams have played well defensively, and both teams' star players and their secondary options have showed up offensively as well.
I'm going to ask you a question before I give my analysis. Raptor fan. OG.
I'm in a win-win. I'll be honest with you. Like I said this last year. I said this like I'm a win-win between.
You're probably more OG. I'll give you a reason why.
Because he wasn't part of the run.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like he had the appendectomy, whatever, the appendix issue.
Yeah,
that he
the
had.
appendix issue. But like that's the thing. But like at the end of the day, I'm
in a win-win.
I'm in a win-win. So,
but
when you're looking at the series itself. And you're looking at the matchups. Obviously, OG and Siakam is going to be the main thing. It was the main matchup, in the last year's semifinal matchup, conference semifinal matchup, because those two were going back and forth at it. Not in terms of like they were fighting each other. They almost did, low key. But in terms of back and forth, they were guarding each other. Obviously, OG being him solid defensively and knowing Pascal's game. There were some games where Pascal Siakam struggled, which was obviously fair because OG Anunoby is that good of a defender. So I feel like the similar matchup is going to happen again this time. But you got to give credit to Pascal Siakam because we thought he was going to struggle against the Cavs with Mobley and Allen inside, and he actually turned up for almost 4 of the 5 games as well. Yeah. So that matchup is going to be the key, in my opinion, of which team will perform better offensively.
Knicks are the better defensive team. You agree with that?
Yes, 100%.
Obviously, minutes aside and all that, they keep the game close. We know who the advantage is going to, right? The Pacers, on the other hand, need to play to their identity, which is play fast. They're not a big half-court team. They're a fast-paced team. We've seen that throughout this the whole playoffs against the Bucks and now against the Cavs as well. Knicks, for me, Jalen Brunson's gonna get his. We know that. Probably Andrew Nembhard or Aaron Nesmith or whoever's going to be guarding him, right? Probably Andrew Nembhard. I am looking at Karl Anthony Towns once again to step up properly, like how he did last year to a certain degree in the Minnesota series when he was with Minnesota, and there were games where it was a Karl Anthony Towns game. I need to see that more. You're going to have Miles Turner on you. Miles Turner's been good this playoffs as well. He has the size. He could, guess what? Both of you guys are considered the 2 of the best big men, stretch bigs in the game. Overall, obviously one of them is an all-star, one of them is more of a role player. I get that, but he's gonna make it tough for you because we see Karl Anthony Towns needs to be the guy to step up, in my opinion, to help Jalen Brunson out, right? And then if it's not Karl Anthony Towns, then hopefully one of the other guys do as well. We saw OG Anunoby step up, we saw Mikal Bridges, Josh Hart step up, but one of them, I'm looking at Towns, but one of them has to step up mega to help Jalen Brunson out because we know what the game plan is going to be from the Pacers side of things, right? Flip side now for the Pacers is just play fast, slow down Brunson, get the game as wide of a margin as possible, and you guys should be able to win this series.
The Knicks obviously
easier said than done though.
The Knicks obviously provided help for Jalen Brunson this year with adding obviously Towns and Mikal Bridges, but the Pacers in that series last year is kind of the only team that where I was like shouting out the game plan, where like deny Jalen Brunson the ball as much as he possibly can because he is their main ball handler, he is their main facilitator, and obviously he's the main scorer. And if he gets the ball, he will do something, right? Whether it be make the right pass or make the shot, which he has been doing all his Knicks career essentially. It is now prediction time. Unfortunately, we lost our footage, so I'm just going to summarize what we said in our predictions. We are going to start off with the Knicks and Pacers, and we both said the Knicks in 7 because we believe in Jalen Brunson, and that second player, whether it be Karl Anthony Towns, Mikal Bridges, or OG, will step up and help him, and we believe that their defensive pieces should be able to slow down Haliburton and Pascal Siakam. On the other side, we both picked the Thunder. Amr picked the Thunder in 6 and I picked the Thunder in 7. The main reason we both picked the Thunder is because they were our preseason final pick and they were also our finals pick before the playoffs as well. The Thunder have been one of the most dominant teams in this regular season, and their ability to throw multiple pieces on Anthony Edwards and show him different looks, and each look being a great defensive piece, is the selling point for us, and that is why we picked the Thunder to make the finals. And so we both had the Thunder and the New York Knicks facing off in this year's NBA Finals. But comment down below your guys' predictions as well. And if you guys want to watch our second round predictions, the video will be popping up on screen. So make sure you guys click that for our full in-depth of our Eastern and Western Conference semifinals preview and predictions. Other than that, we'll catch you guys over there, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.